Hello YouTube. Today I will be explaining how to install Ubuntu onto a virtual machine using VMware. Now if you do not know what a virtual machine is, I will explain that in a later video. If you do not have VMware or even know what VMware is, then I would just recommend looking up a tutorial on how to install VMware, because I'm not making a tutorial on that one. It's very annoying to do. So for Ubuntu, the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to open up your web browser of choice. I'm assuming you're using Chrome, but personally I use Opera GX, not sponsored. Then you would type in Ubuntu. You would click on the first link. You would go to download Ubuntu, hit desktop, and hit download Ubuntu desktop. Now you have this one right here. This right here is called an ISO image. An ISO image is basically the installer for an operating system. So you would hit download whatever version, and once you hit that, it would start downloading. And then the next thing you would do is you would, assuming you have VMware already installed, you would open VMware. Just to mention, I didn't hit the download button because I already have one installed. Now over here, you would not have any of these virtual machines. These are just ones I already have. But basically what you would do is you would click on create a new virtual machine. You would hit typical, recommended, and installer disk image or ISO. You would hit browse, and its default location would be in your downloads folder. I have mine somewhere else, but basically you go to your downloads folder and you would look for one that's called Ubuntu Desktop AMD64.ISO and whatever version right here. You would click on that one. You would hit open. You would see it says everything right there. You would hit next. You have the option to personalize Linux. So I'm just gonna type in user and make a super secure password. No one will ever guess it. And then you get to name it. I'm just gonna call this one Ubuntu test because, well, it's a test. Then your location. The default is your C drive in your virtual machines, but I have a separate drive for them in a different, separate drive. So I'm gonna create a new folder, label it Ubuntu test, then I hit next. Then even though it says it's recommended split into virtual disk into multiple files, personally I prefer single file. To me it seems like it works more often than it doesn't. Now for your disk size, 20 gigabytes is default. If you really want to install things, I'd say 50 to 100, because this is just for a test. We're going to do 20. 20 is really the minimum you should have for Ubuntu, or most other Linux distros. Then all of this is already put out for you, but what I like to do is hit customize hardware. Come on. We seem to be very slow today. There we are. Now, I have 64 gigs of RAM on my computer, which is completely overkill for gaming, but not so overkill for virtual machines. So I can put like 16 gigs, 32 gigs onto a virtual machine. For you could have like only 16 gigs of RAM. Then I'd recommend putting like 4 gigs of RAM. If you only have 8, I'm sorry. Personally, I'm just going to do 16 gigs of RAM. Now, processors, the default is fine, but if you want to make it slightly better, assuming that you have the power to do so, like I have an Intel i5 13th gen, I think, something like that. I'll explain my desktop setup in a later video. You can adjust these if you would like. Virtualization engine, if it works for you, enable it. For me, it doesn't, so I'm not going to talk about it. And everything else is probably going to be right. But for network, there are a few things. So bridged, it connects directly to the physical network, which means like it has its own IP address and everything. NAT or NAT just shares a host IP address, so it's slightly more secure. That's what it is by default. There's host only. It only connects to the host, and then custom is, well, custom. So that's about it. Then you would hit power on virtual machine after creation. You would click finish. Then just to make it look better, I'm going to enable full screen. So right now it's booting. It will probably take a minute to turn on. So I guess we just wait. Okay, so this Ubuntu 24.04, your version will most likely be different, assuming you're watching this in the future, which is a stupid question, you obviously are. So this will take a minute to load, and it hopefully will load. Just need to do more waiting. More waiting. Okay, so right now we are basically in the installer. It's just preparing some things. This needs to load, of course, because everything's slow. Everything's probably running slower because I have OBS Studio and then I have Camera Studio for my camera. But that's besides the point. So choose your language, English for me. Accessibility settings if you need them. Keyboard layout, for me it's English US. Connect to the internet. Virtual machines will always say it's a wired connection, unless you have like a Wi-Fi adapter or something, which I don't. Then there's an update for the installer. Yeah, I'll update it. You might not have an update for the installer, or you do, then I would say just update it in case there's any bug fixes or like differences. So that's like close the installer and continue. Now, because we close the installer, this is basically like a temporary environment. You have everything, but it's running directly off the ISO. It's not like installed onto your virtual disk or physical disk if you're dual booting or installing this on a physical computer. So this could be important if you needed a Linux terminal for something. But I will reopen the installer. Firebeat. English, accessibility, keyboard layout, wired connection. Now, if you have automated installation, I guess you can do it, but I don't. Interactive installation. Your choice for this extended selection gives more utilities, a web browser, and more office tools. I'm just going to hit default for now. You have the option to install third-party software. I am going to do just the NVIDIA drivers for I have an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060. But you don't have to if you don't need it or don't want to. You also have the option to download additional media formats. I will not. Now this artifacting, it almost looks like, I think it's normal. If it's not normal, then that might be a slight problem. It always happens for me though. So, because I'm on the virtual machine, I've hit erase disk and install Ubuntu. Or you have manual installation if you want to customize disk setup. And more artifacting, my favorite. Then you create your account, your computer name it whatever you want, your username, whatever you want, password. Super secure. No one could ever possibly figure it out. Don't mind weak password, it's lying, okay? Require password to log in, your choice. This is an example, so I'm gonna say no. We hit next, choose your time zone, Chicago, for me at least. Review your choices, just make sure everything's correct, and then you hit install. Now, right now, it basically just tells you a bit about Ubuntu, whatever you want to call it. And I will get back to you when it's done installing. Or if you want to see exactly what it's doing, this button right here opens up basically the terminal so you can see what it's doing. I normally don't, but You can if you want to, and if you know what all of this means, you can. Do I know what all of this means? No. No, I don't. Maybe slightly. I will figure out if something horrible happens right here, basically. So I will get back to you when this is done installing. I actually lied. Well, technically will, but this gives me an opportunity to explain what I will be doing in my channel. So, most of my things are probably going to be a bunch of virtual machines and stuff like that. I have a Flipper Zero. If you do not know what this is, then it's basically an all-in-one, like universal remote, sub-gigahertz, NFC, RFID, I button, whatever that is, and GPIO pins for like Wi-Fi and stuff like that. It can run Doom. It's all that matters. But yeah, it's a cool tool. I'll probably do some videos on it, like how to install Momentum firmware. And well, Momentum firmware is just an example, but it's one of the better firmwares in my opinion. So I'll probably do some videos about that. As I said before, mostly virtual machines. But I might do some gaming. I have the power to do, like, I have Steam, of course. I can do, like, BeamNG Drive. I'm probably going to do that. Definitely going to do that. Stormworks, Forts, Nuclear Option, fire game. Pun intended. So yeah, probably do some gaming. I have the technology. VR, highly unlikely, but if you really want it's possible. I could do it. And if you're wondering, my current setup is, I mentioned this a few times before, 64 gigs of DDR4 Corsair Vengeance, Zotac Gaming GeForce RTX 4060, and an Intel Core i5 13th gen, whatever. I don't really care. Then I have a 100 Hz monitor. And then my second display, which I have OBS on, is not really a second display to MacBook. I mean, but yeah, that's basically what I'll be doing. If you'd like me to do any other computer tech related things, after all, this channel is called Tech Stuff, then please let me know. Now, also another thing, why did I make this channel? Well, good question, why did I? I don't know, I was bored. I felt like doing something. So, I believe that about covers what I have to say right now. So as I said before, I'll get back to you when it's done installing. Okay, so as you can see here, Ubuntu is fully installed and is ready to use. You can either continue messing around in the ISO image thing, or you can restart your computer, or restart the virtual machine, I should say, which is what I'm going to do now. So it will take a minute to restart, but when it does, Ubuntu will be fully installed. In the meantime, I guess I get to mention my upload schedule. For as long as I can while I keep getting good video ideas, ChatGPT can only give me so many. That was a joke. No, it wasn't. I will attempt to upload every Sunday at 10 in the morning. Sounds reasonable. Until I run out of video ideas, and it might become every other week. Or it might become completely random. I want to upload them on Sundays. But, yeah. Okay, Ubuntu is fully installed. It says, welcome to Ubuntu. Next, enable Ubuntu Pro, your choice. Help improve? No. You can if you want to. Then finish. So, ta-da, Ubuntu is fully installed. Now, you can do whatever you want to on here. This is only a tutorial on how to set it up, or / install it. Not a tutorial on what you can do while you're in a VM. But I guess we might as well get the essentials installed. So the first thing you'd want to do is check for updates. So to do that, you do sudo apt update. You would type in the password you set up when you were installing it. Remember, it's that super safe password that no one could ever guess. You hit enter, and you see a bunch of stuff. So 219 packages can be upgraded. Run apt list upgradable to see them. A software update has been issued. So you have two ways of installing updates. One, the GUI or GUI way of installing using the software updater, or the fun way, the terminal. Personally, I like the terminal. So to install said updates, you do sudo apt or apt. What is it again? Upgrade. Yep, there we go. You hit enter, and then it says 168 megabytes of additional disk space will be used. You want to continue? Yes, if you don't want to hit Y, after upgrade, space, dash, lowercase y will automatically say yes for you, basically. So it extracted everything, and now it's doing the update process. This might take a minute. Actually, it will take a minute, because it's 219 packages. Not nearly as insane as Kali Linux's 1,120 packages that need to get updated like once every 2 days. It's insane. Okay, maybe not over 1,000. Like 200 packages need to be updated daily on that thing. It's stupid. And also takes forever. Now, what APT is, quick lesson, I guess. APT is a package manager to manage packages. Jeez. Now, there are other package managers like Arch Linux's Pacman. Boo. I don't like it. APT's the best. No one can change my mind. So, yeah, that's a quick lesson, I guess. So, well, it seems to be frozen slightly. Well, it's not frozen, seeing as my mouse is still moving, and I can still move the terminal around. Okay, 2 progress bars is not something I've seen before. Can I make 3? More progress bar. Did that double? Hehehe. Actually, that's a horrible idea, but it's funny. Alright, there we go. Now it's moving again. Never did that before. Update quicker. I'm very impatient. Any day now. I'd recommend skipping through this if you don't want to sit here. No, I'll skip for you. Pause. That was the wrong button. Pause. Actually, no, I figured out. Oh, no, it's still moving again. Oh, I think it yelled at me. Yeah, I tried to pause the video because my mouse cursor is basically stuck in the virtual machine, and I have to do a keybind to get it out. So, yeah, that's why I wasn't pausing. Basically, I have OBS set up where I can pause the videos with a key combination, keybind. Anyways, that's besides the point. It's successfully updated. Do you have to restart your computer for the changes to apply? Good question. I don't know. But now, you can type in clear to make the terminal look nicer, more clean, I guess, hence in clear. Then, we install one more essential, NeoFetch. Sudo apt install neofetch-y. Bang. 16 megabytes. Oh, guess what? Well, actually, no, you can't see all the specs for my computer because this is a VM. But now that's installed. To run NeoFetch, you type in NeoFetch. Bang. Ubuntu 24.04.2 LTS x86 by 64 architecture. VMware virtual platform, none. Why am I reading all of this? There's no point. Whatever. So, let's hope that didn't break the video. I misclicked on my second display. Totally fine. So I guess that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found this video useful. So, yeah, I guess that would wrap up this tutorial on how to install Ubuntu onto a virtual machine. I would like to mention this tutorial does work if you're physically installing Ubuntu. A few things would be slightly different, but overall, I think it was good. I thank you for watching, and I hope that you watch the next video that I hopefully upload next week this time.